Hey, Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review, and what we have this time is the Takayuki VG-10 hammered Damascus Gyuto 240mm knife. The core steel on this is VG-10 full stainless steel. Heat treats about 60 Rockwell, so what they have is multiple layers of soft stainless cladding on either side of that hardcore cutting edge steel. You can see the layers appearing here where the knife gets ground down towards the edge, and that shiny part down there is the core steel peeking out. The weight and dimensions on these are going to vary a little bit from knife to knife, but back up here, so it's an all stainless construction for easy maintenance, the cladding and the core steel. The weight on this one is 229 grams or 8.1 ounces. The edge length is just about 240 on the money, or about 9.45 inches from the tip all the way to the back of the heel. And the overall length is about 14.75 inches. Spine thickness, got about 2 millimeters in thickness all the way down the blade, and they don't really have much taper. The blade has a fair amount of stiffness to it. Really where the knife starts thinning out is where the grind starts from the blade flats, the hammered part, down towards the edge. And you can see the tip on these isn't like super skinny. That's not the way these are ground, so there's a little bit of meat there. Kind of, you know, everything's a trade-off, so you'll get a little bit more robust edge and trade-off for a little bit of performance. Here is the back part of the blade, so again, got a little bit of meat there at that edge. Height is pretty generous at 49.8, almost 50 millimeters. Handle, they call it Pack-A-Wood, which is a stabilized wood product, and so this one has kind of reddish brown tones, kind of rosewood or kind of reddish walnut, depending on how you like to describe it. But what we have here is a partial tang. So it's a Western handle, yaw handle, a hybrid Western handle. You've got the tang that runs through the top part of the blade and here, and then it's inside there, but it doesn't come all the way down to the bottom. So what that does is give you a lot of the benefits of a Western handle with a little bit lighter weight. So they've shaved off some of the weight of that tang there to kind of bring the balance point forward a little bit. So you've got a pinned-on bolster, which is not an integrated bolster that flows into the blade, but you can see that. Fit and finish is nicely done on this. You got stainless steel rivets there. The balance point on this, that handle does help bring the balance point back towards the front a little bit. So there's your balance point. It's a little bit, for me, just a touch behind the pinch grip, so just a very slight handle-heavy weight balance bias. Racket grip would kind of be a little more neutral, even handle forward, depending on your preference. Let's see, let's do a beauty shot here. Out of the box edge on this, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It was a pretty clean, pretty consistent edge. Let's see, these are always tricky with the way they're polished a bit, to try to show everything. Yeah, let's see, we'll do that. Kind of tricky here. So let's take a close-up look. The fit and finish is nicely done on these, and you do have a screened-in kanji on the right side of the blade as you'd be holding it, using it, and then some maker's info there. Then we've got a random hammered pattern, and then the layers making up the cladding as it gets ground down towards the edge, and there's your core steel there. The left side of the blade has the same kind of pattern to it, you know, random pattern and your layers showing with no maker's information or marks there. They've done a little bit of rounding of the spine, just enough to keep that comfortable. They've done a little bit of rounding of the choil, just enough to keep that comfortable. And so it's pretty well ready to go out of the box. Let's take a look at the cutting board profile for this guy. So here's what it looks like. So what you'll see is they've got a fair amount of belly on these towards the front third of the blade or more. So what that does is give you a nice rock capability on these. So these will rock pretty nicely. And it flows into kind of just a flatter belly towards the back half, so it flows into the heel. So not a super flat blade, but just kind of a consistent gradual curve to the edge profile from the tip all the way to the back. So this will push, pull, cut, glide, cut nicely, rock nicely. It's not, you know, like a lot of a pure chopper style, but you got a little bit of flat area at the heel. So fairly versatile profile. So these have a kind of a robust feel on the cutting board. They're fairly stiff. They're not like super laser performers, but they've got a little more meat behind the tip and the edge, which gives you some more forgiveness. So it just depends on where you want to fall in your characteristics. There's always compromises on knife design and performance. So, but just a well-crafted line that looks nice, has a lot of interesting features. It's all stainless, got a hybrid Western handle. So this is the Takayuki VG-10 hammered Damascus Gyuto 240mm knife.